Welcome back to another episode on the Coin King channel. Before we get into today's video, please be sure to follow the man, the myth, the legend himself at D as in David, A as in Apple, the Coin King on X. You can also follow me at Down to Crypto TA if you want to stay up to date with any technical analysis. All right, guys. So today we are going to be getting into the render chart, and we'll discuss a little short-term price action. That's not going to be the theme of this video, but we're going to get into a little short-term price action here. So, I mean, obviously, we've broken up out of this falling wedge here. It's about a 50, 60, 2-month falling wedge that render's been in here. Looking at it on the daily chart, this is Binance. So price action will be a little bit different depending on what exchange you're using. Getting a slight pullback right here. We were getting a rejection from the 20 SMA. So our 20 period simple SMA here, you can see how we kept hitting that and we didn't manage to break above it. And that goes for many of your altcoins, including Bitcoin, just kind of hitting that 20 SMA. A little lackluster on the move up too, guys. I'm going to have to say that, even though we were definitely due to start this correction, we've still been a little lackluster in terms of just how aggressive the move up has been. So we're still within our support and resistance zone right in here. For render, I actually have a buy order set up for around 587, depending on if price gets down there. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's still a great place to be accumulating render. We are very oversold if you take a look at our weekly chart. Very oversold. Very oversold here in our stochastic too. Now, as far as your RSI is concerned, you're not. You're around the midpoint, so you're still in the bullish control zone here on your RSI. So we could see a little bit more downside first, or even a little bit more sideways price action before we actually get a move up. And what would I be looking for on render at that point? I would be looking for price to probably come somewhere back up around here between about 8, say about, actually, let me just draw that fib level here. I want to go with that one. Let's go with this one right here. So, yeah, about 876 to 950 is what I'll be looking for. Probably, possibly a rejection right around in here. Let me look at some other. Let me look at my ribbon for a sec here. Okay, so the 200. This is a fast moving average here. So this is down slightly lower than where you even hit that 50, and it's going to continue to drop as the days come. So that could be even better. That could be even better. But for now, we're going to say somewhere about this 50 around to this 618 right here before we see another significant pullback on render, especially if we get up above this simple SMA. And you can see why I put in a buy order down here around the 587 price range, is because this 50 MA is just still kind of lingering here. So price could easily come back down, retap into this. So anywhere around the $6 to a little bit less, I'd be looking for that on render to take place. Like I said, if I get in on that, I get in on it. If I don't, I don't. But render is very much oversold. We've even retraced quite a bit right here. Like, this is your 50% retracement level from your absolute low to your high. Price definitely surpassed that, and we've been getting support right here in this zone a lot too. So we broke some crucial support right here. So that's also another indication of the resistance that we're getting right here, along with that 20 SMA. And we had some bullish divergence Not from that point right there, but from here to here, we had some bullish divergence come in right here. And in fact, if you take off this little wick right here, you could see an inverted head and shoulder right here if you take that off. So if we don't come down below this point right here, then, you know, which is lower than you would have to break this, and well, it would have to break in order for me to get my entry. But if you're interested in render, then none of this is really going to matter in the end, because like I said, it's not about the short term price action for me. It's really about the long term price action and the potential that render has. So just kind of comparing today. Just kind of comparing Solana to render, and the potential that render has. I mean, you look right here at the total supply, basically the same. Render supply is slightly lower than Solana's total supply. You look at circulating supply, Solana has a little bit more on the market than render does. You look at market cap, there's no comparison in the market cap, but that is the beauty of render. If it gets somewhere around this market cap right here, just what it could actually do, what price would be, in $100 like Solana, because they're pretty squared up. Diluted market cap right now, not even a comparison. Volume, Solana really outpaces render in terms of volume, but still undoubtedly, render has significant room for growth. And Solana's success just illustrates the potential that a project like render can do, especially with the adoption. And that is basically what Solana has demonstrated. Solana has demonstrated how a blockchain project with a strong use case and a strong community can exponentially grow a project. And I see that with render as well, with this unique perspective on decentralized GPU rendering, big adoption. You have your Nvidia, you have your Apple, you also have today, well, actually not today, but just the day prior to this, Rendoshi Research, and I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. He was just doing a post saying about how 25% of the new Grayscale AI fund is render. So, I mean, the use cases for render is exponential. It really, really is. Even with the current situation right now, I don't know if you guys really pay attention to Nvidia and Nvidia and Apple stock, but I started taking a look at those a little bit more in depth, just trying to find some sort of correlation between their price action and Render's price action. The only thing I really saw was, during the announcements where, both companies announced the use of Render, how both the stock and Render, a cryptocurrency, both had a nice spike in price action during that. And so right now, Nvidia is taking a bit of a hit, and Apple is as well too. I actually posted on both of those today because they're really relevant to what's going on in the AI space right now. And some comments have been made that are affecting price action, and not just those comments. Beforehand, it really just had a lot to do with the market recalibrating, the value of these AI projects, because they really just blasted off into the stratosphere overnight. It seems like overnight there was no stopping them, and so now we're starting to see a few pullbacks take place. So some of the things that are just one of the things really just been the comments surrounding AI, the chips, and how China ties into all of this. Um, and this is how most of the semiconductors are created, though. So China is a big part of those semiconductors getting, being purchased. They're really a big part of that. So it's gonna be pretty difficult, just depending on language around them continues to be. Trump recently made some comments about Taiwan and, Taiwan having to pay for, U.S. protection, U.S. military. And I'm not gonna give my comments on that. And I was about to, but it's not my place to give my comments on that. This is about crypto. So anyway, that just sets the tone for uncertainty right now. And so you're going to see that affect price a little bit more, especially as we get into the election. But AI overall is just going to be a big thing. It's going to be unstoppable, whether it's Nvidia, whether it's Tesla, whether it's Apple, whoever it is, Microsoft. It's just going to be one of the biggest parts of our industry. It's a big deal. So back over here on our chart here. Let's just get into this Nvidia just a little bit, guys, because like I said, since right now that Nvidia and Apple are the two biggest adopters of render. Render price really took off with them. It's really important that we do focus on them. So Nvidia, as I stated in my post, you see this here. And just open it up so you guys can see it. But you see from this starting point right here, October 20th of 2022, you can see that this trend line right here extends all the way out here. So this was the first touch, and then we had a second touch, and then a third touch. We kind of broke it a little bit here, but then we quickly came back up above it. So that was this dip right here. So this is very important. And in fact, before we pull back slightly today, this the RSI was sitting a little bit tighter on this trend line here. So I would just really watch this to see how we do here. I know from the top to the low here, it's been about a 17% pullback over the past couple of weeks for Nvidia, and we'll just have to see how things go, going forward. Will we hold support somewhere right in here? Is this the low somewhere right in here? And it reverses and tries again for the upside, or do we break this trend line finally because of the language around companies like Nvidia and giving China first dibs, over the US. So that could be the thing that causes Nvidia to see an drop, even bigger drop. So we'll just have to see that. And we're pushing beyond a correction, in the stock market when you start getting like 17% pullbacks. We take a look over here at Apple. Apple is just really just basic, basic. And that's pretty cool in my opinion that it is so textbook where you could just draw. I really tried to see like what really works the best for it. Is it an indicator? What is it? Well, you pair it with the indicator, it's much better. But it is that simple. You draw a trend line, it breaks the trend line, then you just look for the move down. It's been that simple. And if you get a few um zigzags in between and you can connect some points, you can see where your next move to the upside is going to be. Something as simple as this right here. First touch back up, you can connect the trend line because it got that rejection and boom, breaks it and we're off to the races. You compare that with the indicator and I think it works way, way better. This is just a safer bet because I like to look out long term a lot of times in the market, versus your 1 hour, 4 hour chart, and sometimes the daily chart as well too. It's just too much choppiness, and you want to hold your bags for longer. Zoom out to a weekly chart, maybe even a monthly chart, but weekly chart is the ace. I like that. So just really basic over here on Apple. We come down, we break this trend line right here. We'll probably be getting a move down. This would be the next, well, this will be a good zone right here to sort of look for support somewhere right in here on it, 197, 189. Do have some bearish divergence. You can see that from this point here up to here. We had that bearish divergence in oversold territory. This red signal line is coming up. It may not come up even as far. You can use this. This is a faster one right here. Um, I just noticed it whips a lot, and I don't want all the whips. So I just focus on where we get crosses on the red, in terms of the top indicator right here and down here on the RSI. Then I'll focus on, if we're not doing a lot of chopping, like how we chop right here, how we cross up and down these two signal lines right here. This is a longer one right here, and this is a little bit of a shorter one right here on the RSI. I may focus on, crossing on this blue one, depending on who's first. That was a really good call right on this one right here. That was a clean one right there. So, um, but we'll see how that plays with render price action as well. Render can lean in any direction. Render can be completely tied to the crypto market, and it can be tied to the stock market at this point because of its connection with projects like, or companies. I'm sorry, not projects, but companies like Nvidia and Apple. So, just I think that render can really do these numbers. It can really do these numbers right here. You can be looking at a $100 render. I remember when I bought Solana. I bought Solana around $1 and some change, and I actually made a decision to sell Solana. And that day that I chose to sell it, that same week, it started pumping and wouldn't stop. And I tell you, I sold it around $2 and something, which is a shame, which is an absolute shame. But I was just picking between Solana and another project, and that was how it went. And sadness for me, sadness, absolute freaking sadness. I did eventually buy Solana again, and really was blessed to get that drop on Solana down to $9. But it's not the same as $1 and some change. That was right before Solana got listed on Coinbase. In fact, when I bought Solana, and I bought it because I'd done a little research and I saw that it was about to get listed on Coinbase, and I was like, cool, let me buy this one. But anyway, um, yeah, render's looking good. Don't know, if we'll get the pullback to what I'm talking about, but um definitely, if we see a bit more of a pullback on Bitcoin here, as Bitcoin is, and I had no plans of getting into Bitcoin's charts, but I will share my little tab over here and show you guys what I've been looking at. So I have had zero interest in the lower time frames on BTC, but it did start pumping, and it was something worth taking a look at. But I'm a bear, it almost seems. So I end up coming in to talk about Bitcoin when I saw the resistance, and that tends to be where I show up. So I have a pretty good knack for saying, not looking as strong in my opinion. Probably going to get a pullback, but we started diverging, and you can see the weakness coming in, and the money flow starting to go out, and the just a shift. When I posted, we were still holding right here. You had two breaks. You had one trend line that met from this point to this point right here, and that was your first break, and that coincided with this top indicator right here. And then you had this break right here of this trend line, and this is the one I actually posted. Was the second trend line was what I wanted everybody to focus on, because we hadn't violated the RSI just yet. And then finally, we got this drop off right here on the RSI, so you can see how the RSI flipped from green to red there. And we're starting to get a little bit of a pullback here. So the thing is will we feel the CME gap? I mean, there's a possibility that we feel the CME gap, and there's also a possibility that we just bounce off the top. And that is what I said, like, we could just come back and retest the top of the CME gap, because that is actually where you had the break of the trend line, is where you got the gap. And that's generally referred to as a breakaway gap, which price doesn't tend to return to those as fast. We thought that the last time too, but we did, and that was from Germany selling and whatnot. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. Did manage to do a saver. Um, that's a CME right here. So if we don't feel the gap, which is here, we could just come back and test here because gaps act as support as well. So we'll see. Didn't hold it that time over here, but we'll see. In terms of the monthly. I was saying how important that level was because when I did that video on Bitcoin, even when I posted this image right here, we crossed over this red signal line right here. So I mean that's very crucial on the monthly chart. We'll just have to watch and see. Just have to watch and see. But the next move up, if none of these negative things transpire, I'll be looking at about 72,000 on BTC, at least about that, and that'll just be taking out this second pivot right over here. So we shall see. We shall see, guys. But yeah, that's Render in a nutshell, guys. I'm excited about it. I'm really, really excited about Render. Um, Early investors, you're so blessed. You're so blessed. So blessed to get Render down here and to believe in the potential of Render to grow. It's one of a kind in this industry. One of a kind in the market industry. If you're looking for some other things to kind of buy that are in not rendering, not GPU, but in the computing space, you have Anchor. I'm not sure what Anchor's price is doing, but that is one that you could look at. Let me see. I think I made some notes of some other ones that you might also want to take a look at if Render's price is a little bit too much for you to get into. Yeah. I don't know if you pronounce it Golem or Gollum, but GLM, that is another one. They have collaborations with like Intel and various media and animation studios. So you can take a look at GLM. Anchor, again, like I said, Akash Network. That was another one that I took some notes on. You can take a look at that. I really haven't looked at um, where they are in terms of price action, but I don't believe them to be anywhere near um, where Render is. So if Render's a little bit too much for your pockets and you're looking for something similar, maybe I'll come back and I'll do a video on one of those three. There was another one too, RLC, iExec. They have a partnership with IBM and Electricité de France. I know that was terrible, but I tried. I tried. Okay. So this render video is lingering on just a little bit too much right now. So with that said, guys, I am going to move my behind on and call it a night. Thank you for joining in to the Coin King channel. Leave your comments, leave your like. Please leave your like. I will be posting more. You'll get some better information as well from my X account. So do be sure to follow me on X at Down the Crypto TA and follow my partner at the Coin King. That is spelled with a DA and then Coin King. You can't miss them. Till next time. Peace.